Tell me a little bit about yourself and what attracted you to Vincere in the first place and why you joined.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, so I tend to want to look at creative ways to have multiple revenue streams, right? Excuse me. And I have actually been day trading stock options for probably 5 or 6 years, off and on. The key here, though, is I'm using my own capital for doing that.
Mm.
And from a business perspective, I understand you have to put up capital for pretty much any business venture. However, I'm really keen on using other people's money, or OPM.
Mhm.
So I became very interested in the prop firm space. I spent the time, did my due diligence, understanding how prop firms work. And then probably about 5 to 6 months ago, started researching the algo space, how it works. Because I do have a general understanding of the stock market, more specifically, NASDAQ, QQQ is primarily what I traded in stock options. So I had a good base knowledge, but I was really blown away about prop firms, trading futures. So when I really started digging through what was out there, and because I have a sales and marketing brain, there's a lot of junk out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, the algo that's on Instagram, you get pulled into a myriad of different companies out there pushing algos and how they work. And quite frankly, I would go on these websites and it was a lot of fluff. And even reading some of the comments, or they have comments turned off, which is to me a massive red flag. If you can't let people comment on your product, that's not good.
Mhm.
And then really, listen to Alex's message in his Instagram ad, and it resonated with me. I also had a Amazon and eBay e-commerce stores, and they got shut down literally overnight because of terms and conditions that they changed. And I had a business and it went away overnight. So it resonated, his story, and how, like, I have not lost or invested over $100,000 in other ways of trading. I have joined other discords. I have invested some money in some other courses. And again, I've had some success with options, but it was very up and down. It was not sustainable. It wasn't consistent. One month I could make a lot of money. The next month I could lose a lot of money. And then the key here is that's my own capital we're talking about.
Mhm.
And so once I listened to his message on Instagram, went to the website, I was very interested in the structure of real world information on the bot's performance over the last 5 years, because statistics are key. I'm big on statistics and processes. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This actually makes sense, and I can plug in if I use this and I use that, and if I'm on high risk, low risk, looking at what this business opportunity could bring to the table for me. And again, I say business opportunity because that's how I look at this. This is truly a business opportunity. This is not a get rich quick thing, fly by night, which a lot of these other algo companies like, oh yeah, you can make $12,000 in a day. You can't. Let's be real. You just can't. So once I got into it, I was looking at a couple of other companies, but I decided to book a discovery call, and Jake was the initial person that I spoke with. And I gathered enough information for me at that point in time to go, okay, I'm all about risk management. And you have to, bottom line is, you need to take a risk to make anything happen in life. I'm a firm believer of that. You just sit on the sidelines all the time. You can't progress in anything in life. And I felt comfortable investing in this for 6 months, in that I'm going to approach this for 6 months. And if I walk out of this break even at the end of 6 months, I'm in a really good position, because again, treating this like a business, that's what I was willing to invest the time and effort, knowing that I also had additional expenses of, everything else that was required besides just utilizing the system, the bot system. And quite frankly, once I got all the onboarding went really smooth with Edgar, I understood everything that was going on, but I still needed to capture how it all worked.
Right.
I understand they're bots and you just turn them on and let them go. But for me, there's more to it than that. I wanted to understand how they worked. I wanted to see how they worked really in the market, not just you turn on the bot, let it go and walk away. I wanted to understand how they work. So I had my trading view chart open, and then I would have the bots running in NinjaTrader. And I really could see, okay, here's support, here's resistance. Wow, okay, I would have never thought to enter there, yet the bot entered there. So I really spent the time, especially the first couple of weeks, I wasn't concerned about making any money. I really wanted to understand the system, how it worked, why it worked. And I quickly started realizing, okay, this makes sense. I can see there being a pretty significant opportunity here. And I think it was probably 3, maybe 4 weeks in. I was almost a full month in. Again, Bullet Bot just came out, but I really wasn't attacking it. I was really just kind of sitting back, watching how this all worked. And then I started noticing one of the bots in particular. I was really noticing how it moved. And because I'm used to NASDAQ and how it moves, I became very intrigued by it. And then that's when you and I connected. And strategically, I shifted gears. I'm like, I want to utilize this system. I want to maximize my efforts in one particular strategy. And I'm going to go all in because, again, I'm treating this like a business. I'm not concerned. None of this is my money.
Mm-hmm.
We're using prop firm money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a massive upside and very minimal downside. My return on investment could be 300% in a very short amount of time. So by meeting with you, implementing a system, less than a month later, I got my first payout of $8,000. So 4 accounts, $2,000 each. 4 days later, 2 more accounts, $2,000. So $12,000 literally in just about a month's time since you and I connected.
Right.
And put the strategy into place. And then, as you know, I just got I requested another payout yesterday for those same 4 accounts. So mind you, I have now been successful in repeat accounts. So I'm getting paid out a second time on the same accounts, $8,000. I did blow one of the other 2 accounts trying something else and I wasn't paying attention. So that's my bad. But the other accounts, like $400 away from another $2,000 payout. So in literally 2 months' time, that's what, $22,000?
$22,000 in payouts.
$22,000 in payouts in 2 months. Okay. And mind you, this is important. This is only happening with 6 accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 6 accounts.
So I want to stop you there for a sec because I want to illustrate that I would say you're one of our different clients, right? You take a bit of a different approach with our systems, but maybe you can speak to that a little bit and just, because I did an interview maybe a week ago now with one of our clients who's more so the typical, okay, plop in, get set up, let the bots run, let them do their thing. And, he had, I think it was in total $14,000 in payouts. You've taken a bit of a different approach. You're more in the high risk mindset. You actually don't use the full bot suite. So maybe talk a little bit about that and maybe the insight that you had from our conversation and how that shifted your mindset.
Sure. No, so personally, I'm a firm believer in the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay. So that same approach in trading for me makes the most sense because I can actually put true focus in understanding how one instrument is moving, how one bot works. And I actually also started realizing I've refined that even since, and I know you and I have talked about this, but I started paying attention to how this particular algo, I had the best results when it activated within the first 90 minutes of market, when there's the most momentum. I found, yes, I've had losing days, absolutely, and I've absolutely blown accounts. That's part of the game. A lot of that happened after 90 minutes or after 2 hours, when the market has settled and it would enter a position. I lost a lot of those trades. So yes, I have paid attention even more so into the timing of when these trades enter and how I feel about. I'm confident no matter what, because I'm clearly making money doing this, right? But I have refined my system and I'm paying attention. I'm not sitting necessarily in front of the charts for 2 hours because I have other things that I'm doing throughout the day, but I am paying attention to how the market is working. And yes, this is very newbie friendly, in that if you don't know anything about the stock market, you just want to turn on the bots and let them run, 100% it works. It's just because of how I'm built. I want to know more about it. And so I've really narrowed my scope into this one particular algo. I'm going to maximize it. I'm going to continue to scale. And I see no reason why I can't make a significant amount of money with just this one individual algo.
Well, you already have.
Right. Well, significantly more. I'm looking at this. I'm not trying to downplay it, but it's relatively simple and it works. And if I'm doing it with 4 to 6 accounts on a regular basis and scaling into 16 to 20, utilizing one instrument or one algo, then I'll move on and look at maybe another strategy, but maybe not, because I'm also the same. Keep it simple. Why? If it's working, continue to run it.
Yeah, which I love that mindset, because I think I often see that. And maybe I'll ask you this instead of me saying it. What do you feel like you've seen? Because obviously, like, again, there's clients who succeed here and there's clients who do not succeed. What do you feel like you're seeing in the clients who are struggling to see results versus yourself and some of the other clients that are seeing results? What's the difference?
Honest opinion, based on what I would see in the chat and some of the comments of people that are extremely frustrated, just calling me a cheerleader, which again, I find that highly amusing. Those are people that they don't have the right mindset. So number one, you have to have the right mindset. If you're just going to be negative Nelly, this is never going to work for you, nor is any system ever going to work for you. Number two, you need to lock in, focus, actually have a game plan. Don't come into this, I've got 20 accounts, I'm running every single algo, your hair's on fire, you're blowing accounts on a regular basis, complaining how you've lost all this money. That's not a business approach. You really have to treat this like a business. You have to mitigate your risk. And if that is causing that kind of emotion on a regular basis, then you're over leveraged. But you're not if you have 20 accounts and you lost $1,000 each account, you did not lose $20,000 that day. You didn't. You lost, technically you lost nothing until you blew an account, and maybe you lost $135 or $200 at that point. So I noticed that pretty quickly, that people that don't have any experience and they're too emotionally attached to the little amount of money that they've invested, they need to scale way back then. And you need to have but for me, you have to have a game plan. And I found out a lot of those people didn't. They were just coming in it thinking they're going to get rich overnight, and it doesn't work like that.
So it sounds like you're seeing a lot of staggered focus from those clients, and then over leveraging. They're running into this way too fast, getting caught on fire, and then realizing, man, I gotta exit out the other side of this building. Whereas you, when we talked, we came up with a game plan, we figured out your budget, your income goal, and we've systematically got you to a place that was comfortable and not a stretch. Is that right?
100%.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. So how can a new client who joins, or existing clients, how can they create that game plan for themselves?
Well, number one, I highly recommend jumping in with 2 feet, but understand the system, understand how it works. Run all of the algos in the beginning. Actually get the sense of how this works. Take out the get rich quick overnight scenario. I'm going to make $12,000 my first month. I went into it with, I'm not going to make anything for 6 months.
Right.
If I can break even in 6 months, I'm in a good place. So mindset, in my opinion, for anyone that's going to join this, is 100% going to be the game changer. Because if you come into this thinking, oh, this is going to replace my day job, and you're a disaster waiting to happen. No system is ever going to work for you. I'm looking at this as an additional revenue stream using other people's money. And I'm not trying to simplify it, but it's actually quite simple. That's how I'm going into this, and I'm clearly being successful with it because it's working. So I mean, I hope that really answers the question.
Yeah.
And even yes, I'm getting bombarded with messages constantly now, like how I'm doing this and this and that. And well, I don't mind. I'm not doing anything special. But you also have to be open. Listen to the people that are successful. Look at them as a mentor. I mean, heck, you and I talked in the beginning. I was looking at you and Alex's mentors. I don't know anything about this system, but I quickly figured out what I thought would work for me. And yes, risk management is going to be huge. If you can't handle high risk with an algo because you think you're losing all this money, you need to scale all the way back and work with what's manageable for you. At the same time, if you are on low settings for whatever algo system you decide to go with, and your expectations are, I'm going to make $200,000-$300,000, you're not being realistic. You're just not being realistic unless you have, I don't know, 40 or 50 accounts.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but again, I think a lot of this, again, for me, it comes all the way back to mindset. You have to go into it with the right mindset and emotions and risk management. And if you're over leveraged, you need to scale way, way back. And if it freaks you out seeing a red day on high risk, then you need to change that. And so I am telling everyone that I'm even messaging, and some that I even talked to on the phone, they need to connect with you and put together a game plan, like anything in life.
Right.
So I think that addresses everything, and people can take away whatever they want to, but I'm proof it works.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not trying to simplify it, but it's my strategy is not rocket science.
No, it's probably the opposite of rocket science.
I'm very consistent in that I haven't deviated.
Exactly.
I haven't changed. And the problem is there are too many people in the chat. They try one thing, then they hear about someone else, and they hear about someone else, and I'm trying this, and I'm now going to add that algo. Again, the next shiny object, they're all over the place and wondering why they're not making any money.
So it sounds like that the combination is, one, staying within your means, figuring out a game plan that is within your means, and starting with a budget that makes sense for you, and then allocating that in a way that, okay, if you stick with this, like you said, with that mindset, that long-term mindset, then eventually you'll get there. And if it comes in advance, like it did for you, then that's just a cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is then consistently sticking with that and day in, day out executing that. And if you're feeling that emotional volatility, it means you're over leveraging, or you're not managing your risk appropriately. So you need to take a step back, get some profits out, and then reinvest those and scale up beyond that. Is that right?
Yes, 100%. I mean, look, I've absolutely had red days. I have absolutely blown accounts. That's part of being in trading, whether it's futures, options, stocks, doesn't matter. Again, it's like a normal business. Some businesses have a really profitable day and some none, or maybe they had a return and they had to lose money that particular day. So again, it's really important. You have to treat this just like a business. And yes, risk management is that, and the mindset are at the very, very top. I think if you can understand both of those two things and wrap your head around treating this like a business, not a get rich quick scheme, anyone can be successful with this. Doesn't matter if you have experience like me or coming into it brand new. If you understand how business works, if you understand risk management, if you understand how to leverage other people's money, which is what we're doing, this should be a fairly straightforward process.
Awesome, man. Well, I even though I knew we were building a game plan together that I knew had a high probability of working. I'm super excited for you that you're able to stick with it, and execute it just like we talked about. And now 2 months later, you're sitting with $22,000 extra in the bank. So
Yeah.
I appreciate your time, Darren. And is there anything else, just before we close off, anything you feel like a prospective client should hear if they're on the edge of, should I join? Is this going to work? Is this another scam? Like, is there anything that you want to share with them?
Well, yeah, you need to invest in yourself, right? So again, I explained in the beginning, I was looking for an additional revenue stream that I didn't have to utilize a lot of my own capital. That was my first thing. Then I had to weed through everything out there. And again, like I said, it was from Alex's presentation on the Instagram feed to the same message that was on the website. It resonated with me in that this doesn't sound cheesy and gimmicky. And I had nothing to lose by setting up that first call to just explore and see if this is something for me. There's no risk. And again, it felt right to me because I didn't feel like I was, again, because I do sales and marketing for a living, I didn't feel like I was being sold. I was being explained a system, how it works and why it works. And I mean, again, I don't try to downplay it, but it was pretty simple for me in that because of that approach, I didn't bother booking any other meetings with any of the other algo companies out there. Again, because for me, there were more red flags in the beginning of it. It was too markety. Yeah. And as soon as someone is flashing you can make, again, $12,000, $20,000 in a day, it's not true. So I hope that helps.
Of course.